Thank you, everybody, and it's wonderful to see you all here. It suggests journalism may still have a pulse, despite the many prognostications otherwise. So it's my pleasure to present this award, and I have a very thick paper here, but you'll be pleased to know it's all double-spaced. And so there's also going to be a translation at the end. There's a famous Nelson Mandela quote, which you all, I'm sure, know, but it's worth conjuring again this evening as we honor Brendan Kennedy's investigation of what happened at Maplehurst Correctional Complex in Milton, about an hour from here where we sit. Mandela said, "No one truly knows a nation until one has been inside its jails. A nation should be judged not by how it treats its highest citizens, but its lowest." With that in mind, I want you to think of what Kennedy revealed. Almost 200 inmates strip-searched, forced from their cells by an armed tactical unit, then made to squat against a wall, wearing only their underpants, their hands zip-tied behind their backs, while fans blew on them for hours on end, 40 minutes from here. A judge would later declare it akin to torture. Two things rattle the brain as I think about Mandela's quote and the scandal at Maplehurst. The first is that as the reporting unfolds, it becomes clear that the torture was condoned at the highest levels of the correctional service. The wardens and their superiors would later appear in court, and according to the presiding judge, would lie about what happened. The second is, we would never have known about this abuse and how Ontario treats its lowest citizens had it not been for one reporter and the newspaper that supports them. The Hillmans, as you know, were set up to honor journalism that serves society, exposes harms and injustices, and Brendan Kennedy's investigations of the scandal at Maplehurst, the attempted cover-ups, and the search for accountability is exemplary. The stories in the Toronto Star were so wonderfully classic, the epitome of why many of us became journalists in the first place. I worked in newsrooms where stubby fingers pummeled typewriters. Stories were pounded onto carbon paper between two sheets of A4. Each new line cheered by the tingling bell of the carriage going ding. The cacophony, the keys thumping, the ratchets groaning, the bells tingling, all barged in on me as I read Brendan's stories. I didn't scroll through them. I ripped them off the carriage and devoured them. It was all there, the cruelty, the skullduggery, the duplicity, the stupidity. And all revealed how? By a tip-off. For tip-off, read, I assume, a nurtured source, someone treated fairly over years, someone whose trust was earned. Source says something bad went down at Maplehurst. Correctional services, the government and their spokesfolk, all issue denials. Freedom of information requests are denied. Another tip, there's a video of the event. It was an exhibit in the trial of an armed robber who got his sentence reduced because of abuse at Maplehurst. How to get it? Go to court, government objects, but judge sides with the Star. And so the world gets to see a swaggering Winston Wong, the prison's superintendent, fist-pumping his officers who stand guard over stripped inmates. He has a triumphant picture taken of the team to commemorate the event. He sends it to his superiors. They loved it. And so thanks to Brendan, we learn that Superintendent Winston Wong has dispensed with the euphemism embedded in the official title of his institution. Henceforth, the Maplehurst Correctional Complex should be known as, wait for it, Guantanamo Bay. It's worth noting that the victims of Guantanamo were officially innocent men. They were being held pending trial, and as Brendan reveals, the repercussions of the scandal were profound. Almost all the inmates have since had their charges stayed or sentences reduced because of the abuse of their human rights. Among them, 3 men accused of murder. So remember Mandela's quote, "No one truly knows a nation until one has been inside its jails." Then think of this. Brendan Kennedy in the Toronto Star revealed shocking abuse of almost 200 prisoners. Officials high in the correctional service knew about it and tried to cover it up. They and their officers were found to have repeatedly lied in court. Almost 200 inmates accused of serious crimes, including murder, have had their charges stayed or reduced because of the abuse. And then understand, the one man in charge of correctional service, Solicitor General Michael Kresner, has said not a word and has declined all interview attempts. I suspect he's even cancelled his Star subscription. And if so, it's surely further testament to the steadfast and wonderfully classic reporting of Brendan Kennedy. So I say, well done, Brendan. Please come and accept this year's award.
Thanks very much, Neil, for that amazing introduction. And thanks to the Hillman Foundation, and congratulations to the other winners tonight. I first started reporting this story 2 years ago, and back then, we didn't have the video, we didn't have judges condemning what happened, we didn't have the ministry's internal reports. All we had were inmates telling me what happened to them. So before I thank anyone else, I want to acknowledge the courage it took for those men who were all still incarcerated at Maplehurst at the time to make those phone calls to me. They did it while they were still relying on the jail staff for all of their basic needs, including their day-to-day safety. It was an incredible risk for them to take. They took it, I think, because they knew that despite being prisoners, they still had basic human rights and were still entitled to be treated humanely. So above everything, I'm grateful to them for trusting me and the Star. From the jail guards who lied in their reports to Solicitor General Michael Kresner, who refused to even acknowledge the blatant human rights violations that happened on his watch, this story is another reminder that people in power will lie or run from the truth to protect themselves. At the risk of stating the obvious in a room full of journalists, our most important job is to not let them get away with it. So I'm very proud to do this kind of work for the Toronto Star, which continues to prioritize reporting that exposes abuses of power against vulnerable people. Thanks especially to our publisher, Jordan Bitove, and editor-in-chief, Nicole McIntyre. It's my byline on the stories, but I wrote everything alongside my editors, David Bruiser and Jesse McLean, who made every story better. They are two of the best journalists in the country and two of my favorite people in the world, and I really love working with them. I also want to thank Jesse's son, Beau, who actually assisted his father in a brief and unexpected interview with Maplehurst's former superintendent while they were on their way home from Beau's Taekwondo practice. Thank you, Beau, for carrying the op. Thanks to Justin Manerick, our newsroom lawyer, who led the legal fight to get the video footage and was very good company on several drives to Brantford. And to Kelsey Wilson, the Star's former video editor, who worked incredibly fast to get the video ready for publication. Since I may never have this opportunity again, I want to thank my amazing partner, Natalie, for always supporting me and for being a reliable source of righteous indignation in our home. Lastly, I'd like to thank my parents. They're not here tonight. My mom is actually babysitting for us tonight. But I want to thank them for subscribing to the Star when I was a kid. It's hard to imagine I'm here without them doing that. Thank you very much.